Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. One of the coaches at Unga Academy here, and today we're going to be talking about the keyword set exit on close. It's used a lot to test intraday strategies. Now, since so many people ask us how to use the keyword set exit on close in live trading, today we're going to be reviewing the use of this reserved word that will be very useful when developing a strategy that closes all trades at the end of the day. Before we start though, as always, I invite you to please subscribe to our channel. Click on the notification bell and hey, why not leave us a like to support our work? Thank you so very much. Hi, we are the Unga Academy and we teach traders how to make money in the markets. Our founder, Andrea Unga, had been struggling with trading for years until he developed his automated trading method, which he used to become the only 4-time world trading champion. Subscribe to our channel for free tips and tricks. Alrighty, as said, the keyword set exit on close is very useful if we want to test intraday strategies. So what are the peculiarities of this keyword and what must we pay special attention to when using it? So the definition by MultiCharts that can be found in the Power Language Editor under the index entry set exit on close comes to our aid. So we're going to search for set exit on close. Here it is below. And right here, we're told that this command will close the open trades, whether long or short, at the last tick of the session bar, generating an exit market order, whether the open trade is long or short. It is then specified that this keyword can be used only inside a signal, namely a strategy which sends orders to the market. And it would be impossible to use this type of keyword, for example, on an indicator. In order to apply it to a strategy, as we can see below, we only need to rewrite this word inside our signal in order to send the orders to close the trades at the very last bar, the very last tick of the session. The session that MultiCharts will use to close the open positions at the last tick will be the one set in the quote manager. And this is also specified in the description found in the Power Language Editor dictionary. Now let's go and create a strategy to see how to use the keyword set exit on close for our tests. So here I've created a very simple strategy which will buy and sell inside a specific time window. Now we use this time window to simply eliminate the first 2 bars of the session and the last 2 bars of the session from the backtest. Now we're going to be doing our testing on the 15-minute gold future market. As we know, this market has a session that goes from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. So in this way, by starting at 6:30 p.m. and ending at 4:30 p.m., we can eliminate the first 2 and the last 2 bars from the backtest. After that, always inside the time window, we'll send stop orders on the high and low of the previous day. At this point, our keyword set exit on close comes into play. We're going to be using a condition. So if ID, which in this case is an input, is equal to 1, then we'll close our trades at the end of the session. If instead the value of ID isn't equal to 1, for example 0, 2, 3, 4, then this means that the trades will remain open beyond the end of the session, transforming the strategy from intraday to multi-day. Let's go back to MultiCharts, where you can see that I've uploaded the gold data at 15 minutes and I've inserted our strategy, changing from multi-day to intraday. Now let's take a quick look at the equity line of the multi-day strategy. As you can see, this is it. The very first few years of backtest, namely a backtest that starts from 2008 and lasts until today, we'll see that in the very first years, the breakout was more consistent or more constant, if you will. Then there was a very long phase that started in 2016 and lasted until 2018-19. Where instead the trend following approach didn't work as well as in the past. After that, another rally, and now a sort of a new pause. If we modify our signal from 0 to 1, we'll close our positions at the end of the day. And we'll see that the results will change. And we'll see it later when we'll compare the intraday and multi-day versions. And you'll also see that in this case, the intraday was much more consistent until 2016. But unlike the multi-day strategy, by now the intraday strategy no longer reached the equity peaks. Well, here it touched the equity peaks at this very point for a moment, but then it fell back again. And we'll see if the intraday strategy will also improve in the future. In order to see the results and also compare a multi-day strategy to an intraday strategy, What we can do is directly optimize the value of ID, which is our input, from 0 to 1. Because in this case, as we've said, if ID equals 0, then we'll keep the trades open, even at the end of the session, while if we use 1, we'll close them at the end of the day. By optimizing these values, we can see very clearly the differences between the two strategies. Strategies that at the moment are still rather basic, because stop loss and many other things are missing, such as, for example, the filtering conditions. Anyway, what we can see now is that with ID equal to 0, thus holding trades open longer, the net profit is higher in the time period considered. And this is because the strategy has more time to make good profits. Indeed, this is reflected by the average trade, which you can see reaches $140. While, when switching to the intraday strategy, the average trade collapses. And this is because there are less bars in the market. So also the strategy will have more difficulty to achieve higher average trades. Moreover, we can see a big difference in the number of entries. And this is because the intraday strategy will open and close trades from day to day. So every day it will open and close a trade, while the multi-day strategy will keep it open for more days. Consequently, from a statistical viewpoint, there will be a much lower number of trades. What's interesting, however, is that in the case of a gain, which from a purely absolute value perspective is lower, the percent profitable, namely the percentage of profitability of the intraday strategy, is higher than the multi-day strategy, even 48% compared to 38.5% of the multi-day strategy. So we can say that the intraday strategy will always be less profitable than a multi-day strategy. But also intraday strategies can have very good results, and the peculiarity is that the percent profitable could be higher, because in any case, at the end of the session, we'll close our trades, right? Now, let's select one, namely the active intraday input, to see on the chart what kind of trades the strategy does and how it closes them. Looking closer, we can see that at the very last bar, namely the 5 p.m. bar, at the very last tick, MultiCharts will send a trade close order. But that should set off an alarm bell, because if you listen closely to what I've just said, if we were to send a close order or any other order right after the session closes, it means that the market is closed. And as a result, our order would be suspended and not executed until the next open session. And, well, we clearly don't want that to happen. This means that the keyword set exit on close is usable only in backtest as is, because otherwise at the end of the day it would send an order, but that order wouldn't be executed because the market would be closed at that moment in time. So it's very useful in the backtest phase, because as we've seen before, we can decide whether to close or not to close trades at the end of the day, just in a line of code. However, in order to use it in live, it is necessary to create a sort of trick, a ploy, to deceive MultiCharts, and then create a sort of a fake session that cuts the last minute of the session in order to send that order of set exit close 1 minute before the official session, and then actually close our trades. So to do this, just open the quote manager and click on session templates. As you can see, I have already created it. So click on add and create a session that is the same as this one. So instead of opening the market at 6 p.m. and closing at 5 p.m., we'll close just 1 minute earlier. So for MultiCharts, if I apply this type of session to the chart on which I'd put the strategy, according to MultiCharts, the gold session will close at 4:59 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. In this way, when set exit close sends the exit order at 4:59, the market will still be open for 1 minute, and consequently we'll be able to close our trades. What we're going to do is we'll quickly go back to our chart and reset our session, which instead of being the default session, will be COMEX_cut. Here it is, and we're going to click on OK. Now at a graphical level, nothing's going to change. We'll simply hide the last minute of each session from the backtest calculations, but this shouldn't change too much. If you want to use this trick, I'd suggest that you do it only in the most liquid markets, because in this way you won't run the risk of not getting orders filled in the last minute. Because it isn't said that on all markets the last trading minute of a session is actually quite liquid. Therefore, use this trick only on the most liquid markets where you're sure that even at the very last bar, even in the very last minute, there will be buyers or sellers who can trade with you to close your trade. So we've seen that the set exit on close can be very useful in backtests, but it can also be used for live trading. As we said though, just please be careful because it doesn't work properly on all markets. Now, if there is among you someone interested in the world of systematic trading, you'll find a link in the description of this video. From there, you'll be able to see a presentation by Andrea Unger, or get our best-selling book, The Unger Method, covering only the shipping costs. Or why not book a free call with a member of our team? If you like this video, please leave us a like, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell to stay updated with the release of all our new videos. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and we're going to be seeing you in our next video soon. Bye-bye.